Law number 10, the law of belief. If you believe something to be true, it is true for you. What you believe, the mind will conceive. Regardless of the reality, you will behave accordingly when you consider something to be true. Keep telling yourself that your vision is true, and it will become so. The mind is a powerful creation tool, which you need to train and exercise. A thought with a known outcome is a fact. You realize what you desire. This is the law that makes any placebo 100% effective. In our video on law number 4, the law of probability, we explain how physically your subconscious creates what your conscious experiences. For the subconscious mind, it lives in a superposition of source. It can manifest anything, but it builds based on my thoughts, your thoughts, and the thoughts of global consciousness. Your thoughts very much create the majority of the world you experience. Your thoughts vibrate into the universe, but also into the depths of your body. Emotion emanates from the body, mind, and especially the heart. Whatever the mind-body is resonating at is a signal continuously directed at the subconscious mind. The subconscious learns through repetition and emotion. Your body is the biggest signal generator for the subconscious. Thus, what you create consciously ultimately programs the subconscious mind to deliver. What it will deliver is what you believe, not what you tell yourself you believe. I believe you do deceive. It is what is true for you deep in your heart, not in your mind. What you believe is what you become. The song in your heart becomes the dance in your life. The relationship between faith and our perception of reality is a complex and subjective matter. Faith, generally defined as a strong belief in something without substantial evidence, can influence how individuals interpret and understand the world around them. However, the extent to which faith affects what we see and perceive varies greatly depending on an individual's personal belief, experiences, and cognitive processes. For individuals who hold strong religious or spiritual beliefs, faith can play a significant role in shaping their worldview and influencing their interpretation of events, experiences, and phenomena. Their faith may guide their understanding of the purpose of life, the nature of existence, and the moral framework they adhere to. In this context, faith can deeply influence what they see and how they interpret the world. On the other hand, for individuals who prioritize evidence-based reasoning and rely more on empirical observations, faith may have a less pronounced effect on what they see. They tend to rely on verifiable facts, scientific explanations, and logical reasoning to form their perceptions and beliefs about the world. Ironically, they choose to believe in man-made science, which quantum physics has completely undermined. These people will struggle to see they are programmed. In short, they will struggle to awaken. Ultimately, the impact of faith on what we see and perceive is highly individual and can vary from person to person. It is a deeply personal and subjective aspect of human experience. The concept of the law of attraction suggests that one's beliefs and thoughts can attract positive or negative experiences into their life. According to this belief, if an individual focuses their thoughts and beliefs on positive outcomes, they will attract positive experiences, while negative thoughts and beliefs will attract negative experiences. Belief plays a significant role in the law of attraction, as it asserts that what you believe and focus on will manifest in your life. Your thoughts and beliefs ultimately shape your reality. The way we think, the way we process information, and the way we act have all been programmed into us over time. An analogy is operating software on a PC. We think, process, and act in order to achieve a desired outcome. This software is a combination of genes, upbringing, modeling on key people, especially parents and family, and personal aspects such as experiences, environment, feelings, and even your current mood. What we believe is an operating system that has been programmed by inputs such as the need for certainty, modeling on peers and authorities, the blind and automatic belief that our perception is the only correct perception. the suggestiveness of people to blindly accept other people's beliefs or culture or scripture, and of course our very human filters. Given all these variables, two things are true. What we perceive is not necessarily the universal truth. However, what we believe, if we believe it fully, is as good as truth to the subconscious mind. Whatever you believe, right or wrong, will be constructed to some extent and over time by the subconscious mind. In this regard, two obvious aspects come to mind. Whatever we desire to create in our lives, we first have to believe in 100%. The second is to only have positive thoughts and visions about this belief. Any doubt or wavering in the authenticity of the belief, or the ability for the subconscious mind to create the belief, is a process of unbelief. You are still creating, but based on what you believe, the extent you believe in it, and the extent of your disbelief. So we receive signals and interpret these signals into a language we can understand, and then run this language through our subconscious mind, which is coded with all of our motivating and demotivating drivers. This is our programming. But how does information become a belief? The conscious mind and the subconscious mind vibrate at different frequencies. They speak a different language. In order to communicate, the following happens. External stimuli such as sights, sounds, touch, smells, and tastes are received by our five senses and sent to the brain for processing. They are joined by any internal stimuli we have created, such as thoughts, feelings, emotions, and intuition. The neural part of the mind sends the data to the linguistic part of the brain, which converts this data into symbolic data that the subconscious can understand. The subconscious, like a computer, applies a bunch of parameters, filters, values, beliefs, memories, to the symbolic data and sends symbolic data back to the linguistic part of the brain. This is interpreted back into a language the neural part of the mind can understand. The neural mind then triggers an emotional or physical action. We then assess the outcome of our action. If the desired outcome met our expectation, this reinforces that the model is working. If the desired outcome does not meet our expectation, it causes our subconscious program to be reprogrammed. The resulting experiences are the major event in modifying and updating our internal software. Our desired outcome is predicated on our concept of pain and pleasure. We perform an action to achieve pleasure, and this action is controlled and performed by our program, our mindset. The actual outcome is then processed by us, and we translate it into a perceived experience. Although it is a perceived experience, our perception is our reality. This is a real experience for us. This experience either met our pleasure expectation and therefore reinforced our model and program, or it triggered pain signals, forcing changes. Two things happen as a result, often simultaneously. Our value system might be modified by the experience, but our program will certainly be optimized and updated. Where our value system was changed, this will also modify our program. This is how information becomes a belief. Does it fit with our model of what we believe to be true, and does it bring us pleasure? An interesting thing to note is that our outcomes create internal stimuli which we process to create our outcomes. The majority of what we create, behavior, emotions, etc., is self-generated. This is the whole premise of the law of belief. You are responsible for your current and future situation. You are not dependent on external factors. The illusion of reality. To each of us, what we see we perceive as real. For instance, the screen you are currently watching. But amazingly, nothing in our world is solid. All that you perceived is formed from a lattice which has energy as its source. This lattice is basically a temporary physical form around empty space. Everything in the universe is essentially 99.999999% empty space. Can you believe that if you removed all the space, the entire human race would fit into the size of a sugar cube? I know it's hard to fathom, but nothing is solid in our universe. An object that appears solid is only a subtle entity formed by an invisible vibration. This form is shaped by the observer, you. Everything is energy vibrating. There is infinite energy. There are infinite outcomes. You see and experience the mirrored vibration. You are seeing the vibration that resonates with your subconscious mind. In this sense, each of us creates the world around us. These invisible vibrations manifest as geometrical figures and in this way create a crystal-like entity. The design of a snowflake, the shape of a flower, and everything you see takes on their form because they are responding to an invisible vibration. Stars, planets, minerals, plants, animals, and human beings are invisible music that has taken on visible form. It is invisible to us because of our low consciousness state. Our spectrum of understanding is not wide enough to fathom the incredible infiniteness of everything. We cannot fathom infinite smallness and infinite greatness. The world I see is different from the world you see. We might be seeing this world around us, but we all see it differently. We create our map of the world based on our experiences, modeling, culture, beliefs, and filters. Yours is not wrong, but we need tolerance of other people's models. For them, their version is as real as yours. We create what we see. What we perceive as reality is a model of the world based upon our life, our experiences of events. We are all familiar enough with the theory of relativity to know that this model is seen from your viewpoint, based on your beliefs, your perspectives, and your physical limitations. In neuro-linguistic programming terms, your map is not necessarily the territory. I'm sure you've seen the meme, where there is a 6 or a 9, and dependent on your perspective, you will perceive either the 6 or the 9, and both are right according to the individual perspective. We base our model of the world heavily on our understanding of the data around us, and we absolutely believe that our version of the world is the only one. But, time after time, certain pillars, the foundations of our concrete beliefs, get shifted, change, or are removed. Have you ever been so certain of something only to have additional information surface that shifts what you think or believe? We then have to recalibrate the model of our world. Time, technology, and consciousness levels all lend themselves to converting our reality to a new level of truth, and that is not necessarily reality either. It may also change based on time, technology, and consciousness. The picture of our world constantly changes as we acquire more information. Our version of the information is generally not the same as another person's, which explains why we all see the world so differently. Your version of the world is not necessarily correct, and because everything is relative, it probably is not correct. What trips us up is that we are invested in what we think and what we believe. An awakened person can easily let go of the attachment to a certain belief in favor of a belief that brings joy and happiness. Seeking joy and happiness should be your number one priority every day. You will understand this when you have begun the path to awakening. We see what we create. Light chooses the quickest path, the path of least resistance. The universe has several immutable laws, and one of those is the conservation of energy. Light chooses the quickest path, the path of least resistance. Light in your brain will prefer to follow the well-worn neural pathways. When you have a simple thought, it creates a minimal path in your neural brain. Over time, and given enough attention, this small pathway becomes enlarged. When you make a belief a habit, the neural pathway becomes a superhighway. Light will always opt for the superhighway as it finds less resistance there. Light equals energy equals matter. As more light uses a superhighway, the light will create the matter that the neural circuit is supporting. For instance, let's say you want a new house. The initial thought creates a small neural pathway in your brain. Assume that every day you think intensely about this house. You fill in all the details. You become aware of how you feel living in this house. The more attention you give it, the bigger and better developed that neural circuit becomes. Then more light uses this upgraded neural circuit, and more energy is committed to making your intended creation. Your world is a reflection of the creation you have performed in your mind. This explains the sayings, "The kingdom is within you," and "As above, so below." Your brain is a hologram of the universe. As you make changes in your brain, the universe changes to match the new design. Homeostasis. We can change our homeostasis reprogramming, which prompts the subconscious mind to switch to a different outcome, like changing your TV channel with your remote. Homeostasis is the natural level of your emotions and success script in your subconscious. There are several ways to improve this script, to reprogram it. One of the ways is constant gratitude. Gratitude. The law of creation argues that thoughts are energy. Gratitude is a thought energized with a strong amplifying emotion. The power of gratitude is the single most powerful element because it shows a massive reinforcement of what you believe. Gratitude provides energy which helps turn any neural pathway into a superhighway. The bigger the neural pathway, the more light is attracted to that pathway. More light equals more energy, which equals manifestation. A deep state of gratitude is a combination of blessings and euphoria. Giving blessings for your positive state combined with a sense of euphoria because of your positive state. Simply put, gratitude is the most powerful method of displaying your beliefs. Pain and pleasure drive our beliefs. The subconscious mind controls and maintains all perceptions. For the subconscious mind, perception is reality. There is a belief that insists the subconscious mind knows what is best for you and uses the pain and pleasure principle to guide you to and away from experiences. This is a complex process when you consider that drug use, as an example, starts as a pleasure and becomes great pain when it leads to drug abuse. The relationship between pain and pleasure could be considered a reward and punishment-based system. Perceived pleasure is associated with reward, perceived pain with punishment. From an evolution standpoint, this is highly functional, as actions that lead to pleasure release chemicals that help reset our parasympathetic system and homeostasis. For example, we eat food because it releases pleasure sensations, and food is critical for our survival. The same process is valid for pain. Pain teaches us to avoid specific events and situations. This leads us to develop a defense and survival strategy. Pavlovian humans. All of our behavior is dictated by the release of hormones. We pursue experiences that release the pleasure chemicals into our body, such as dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. This means that we are nothing more than Pavlovian humans, reacting to the dinner bell that releases hormones into our body. When we recognize that all our behavior, emotions, and responses are conditioned by our need for these chemicals, we can start to assess our consciousness. When we start to elevate our behavior, emotions, and responses to align with our higher mind, we move from simple Pavlovian human to sentient being. Our addiction to chemicals lends us to domination by our primitive mind. The more we engage in this behavior, the stronger our primitive mind becomes. At some stage, we encounter a consciousness shift, a point where we realize that we are more than chemically addicted animals and that there is a higher purpose for ourselves. When this happens, we have started on the path to consciousness. This is the law of belief. A photon is an elementary particle, the quantum of light, and the building block of the universe. A photon is a discrete bundle or quantum of electromagnetic energy. When photons encounter the atoms of an object, the atom decides whether the photon will move the atom from one energy state to another and acts accordingly. It can re-emit the photon, scattering, or it assimilates the photon, absorption, or the atom permits the passage of the photon with no action, transmission. The first lesson we can pull from this is, as a simple human, you experience this basic force of physics every day. Every day you encounter people, a compilation of photons vibrating at a low level, and events, which all have a vibration level. During your day, you will have thoughts and feelings, all vibrating at specific levels. When these people, events, thoughts, and feelings occur, you have the power to choose whether to absorb, scatter, or transmit the experience. The second lesson is this: what we perceive to be the absolute truth is not. And there is so much out there that we cannot comprehend because of our low level of human vibration and consciousness. This is the basis for Plato's famous allegory of the cave. Simply put, at a human level, nothing that happens to us is real. We create its reality by how we choose to react. We are responsible for what we create. At a spiritual level, when our sense of individuality gives way to our universality, quantum shifts will be achieved in our vibration and in our consciousness. We are frequency generators and attractors. We only see the world from our level of understanding. Our low consciousness physically restricts our conscious understanding. Think of your consciousness as a radio set. Your transmitter sends out messages to the universe. The universe sends events and information back to you based on a similar frequency. Your receiver is set to the same frequency as your transmitter. The more powerful your receiver, the more powerful you are in creating and attracting. If your transmitter is set to low frequencies, shame, guilt, judgment, then you will attract low frequency experiences. Conversely, if your transmitter is set to high frequencies, joy, love, abundance, then you will attract high frequency experiences. What you believe is constantly being emitted into the universe. Because everything is frequency, this shapes your universe. What you believe, you create. The human mind is the most effective creation tool in the universe. You have been taught that you are limited. This is wrong. You are unlimited. It is time to break the shackles of the mind.